This episode is proudly supported by OpenTable.
Nearly 1/3 of diners are booking same day. So they're making those decisions on the spot. And 10% are making their bookings within just a few hours. And so it's why it's so important to have booking software like OpenTable, which allows your diners to discover you. And so when restaurants are on platforms like OpenTable, they're much more likely to be discovered. We help diners to connect to restaurants. Ultimately, having technology, using technology, helps you to reattach to those diners.
Experience the power of OpenTable. For an exclusive offer, visit restaurant.opentable.com.au/DITW.
It's going to be amazing. I mean, I think, we'll be concerned and focused on safety, and we'll do things slowly and carefully, but inside we'll be absolutely ecstatic. And when we get a chance to show people hospitality and generosity and the sort of love that we have for food and hospitality, it's going to be an extraordinary day.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. Last time we caught up with Neil Perry, he was about to open his first solo restaurant, Margaret. But the Sydney lockdown landed the day he was meant to open, some 4 months later, and he's finally about to open the doors for the first time and welcome guests back in. Neil, how are you feeling?
I mean, we're very excited. I mean, we're cautious, but we're excited to be doing what we, are meant to do, which is give hospitality. So that we can't wait for.
What's this time felt like for you? You were on the cusp of opening and then a huge lockdown for Sydney for a couple of months. What's it been like this couple of months for you?
Well, man, it was sort of like the first couple of weeks, I was sort of in a bit of a dark spot thinking, oh, God, how could this happen? And sort of chatting to the bank manager about maybe needing more support, and all sorts of stuff were going through my head. And then I just kind of realised it was going to be, a long process. Came very clear the first week or two that it just, wasn't going to end easily. So yeah, I mean, that word pivot was really, it was sort of pivot or perish, really. So we got involved in providores, and I saw all the locals around during the day, so we started burgers and sandwiches, and it's allowed me to keep the staff stood up and everybody working together, and it's been really good, actually. So we've been able to navigate these waters. We've been able to keep the team together. We've been able to be strong, and then this week we've just given up providores and moved it along to a friend of mine who's a great caterer that I've worked with Qantas for a long time. And then we've sort of been training all week, getting our head back into hospitality. But it's good. They're all tasting, and we're doing wine tastings, and just finished a cocktail tasting, so they're all the kids are very merry. And yeah, we're planning on Wednesday to be full steam ahead.
Has there been some positives to come out of this sort of 4-month period to help you refine things for opening?
Look, I think it just shows you what resilience can do, and I think it shows you how important community is, and importantly, how important it is to work with your staff and for them to rally around you and understand what you're trying to achieve, because you're working side by side with them. And it's really nice to be back in a small restaurant where we're all working together every day, and we're achieving things together, and there was never a kind of moan or groan about what we had to do, and portioning things and boxing stuff and selling burgers and getting smashed at lunchtime and what have you. Everyone's done it with a great degree of acceptance.
Opening the doors again is just the beginning. What do you see as the challenges in reopening and the next sort of year for hospitality?
Well, I think the challenge is reopening safely. I mean, the last thing we need is to be going through the roof in case numbers and then getting more restrictions or even another lockdown. So I'm very concerned about the government changing the amount of people who can come to a home policy, because we're in a very COVID safe, wearing masks. We're all vaccinated. All our customers are going to be vaccinated. We're going to temperature check. We're going to be taking QR codes. We're going to be very, 1.5 distancing, and there won't be obviously, standing and drinking and dancing and hugging. And so I feel comfortable that we can restart business, but to have 10 and then very quickly 20 people in your home as opposed to 5 and then 10, considering this outbreak started in southwest Sydney from large gatherings at homes and in the eastern suburbs with large gatherings at parties, I'm really disappointed that lever was pulled so quickly. I thought toe in the water and make sure that we can open this economy and keep it open going forward.
I know you've done a tasting today with staff, and we can hear them in the background at the moment. What can people expect from Margaret when you open the doors?
Well, it's simple sophistication, beautiful produce, the best the country has to offer. A lot of people say that. A lot of people don't actually get it, but most of it direct from farmers and fishermen, and they can expect great craft and the wood fire going over that, and more importantly, just great flavour and taste. And so I just want to blow people away by that simple sophistication, but then they just go, wow, that just, the natural flavour of the quality of the ingredients comes through.
Another really big part of what you do in your life is restarting with Qantas. How are you feeling about that?
Oh, mate, very exciting. I mean, our guys are heading off to Singapore, London, US. They'll be camped there for 2 to 4 weeks. We're restarting catering centres. We're starting lounges. So we're really knee deep in the thick of it. So it really is exciting times, and to know that we could be on the verge of coming back to, socialising, seeing our family, going to restaurants, going to sporting events, going to music things, going to the movies, and jumping on an aeroplane, travelling overseas, travelling interstate, being Australians again, being the United States of Australia. It's really exciting to think of the world coming back in those terms, because, sort of a couple of months into this lockdown, you were kind of wondering, if that was ever going to happen. So it's pretty exciting times. And I must say, I've been really impressed, and I had no shadow of a doubt that Australians would get vaccinated. We're incredibly compliant in that way. We have an amazing national health system. We've been vaccinated as children for many things, and we've been very big on the uptake of flu vaccines and other things. So I always thought that we were never going to have any issues out of this, and I think we'll get to 95% in New South Wales probably the first week or two of November.
You're also getting into the bakery game. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, I met Mike Russell many years ago when he worked for me at Rockpool Bar and Grill in Sydney when we first opened it in 2009. And he was the second pastry chef to Catherine, and he wanted to bake, so we went and left and went and worked with Iggy's, and then he went down to Melbourne and opened a small bakery, and now a larger one, and our second one. And he and Mia and the team are baking what I consider to be the best bread in the country. I mean, they've taken everything they learned at Iggy's and they've taken it forward. The dark crust is just extraordinary, and the amount of different breads and pastries that they make, and just the beautiful human beings that they are as well. And I'm just so proud to be able to bring them to Sydney and position them in what I think is one of the great villages in the world, Double Bay, right next to my beautiful restaurant that I want to, live in for the next 20 years of my life.
Now, your daughter Josephine put the most wonderful video up on Instagram in the last week of you almost dancing and singing through the restaurant.
Yeah.
How's it going to feel when you open the doors for the first time and welcome guests in?
Oh, it's going to be amazing. I mean, I think, we'll be concerned and focused on safety, and we'll do things slowly and carefully, but inside we'll be absolutely ecstatic. And when we get a chance to show people hospitality and generosity and the sort of love that we have for food and hospitality, it's going to be an extraordinary day. And I hope out of this crazy pandemic, now stretching for well over 18 months, that the world comes back kind of not taking a lot of things for granted anymore. We really appreciate what we're allowed to do and how we're allowed to do it, and hopefully appreciate each other as human beings and the way things that we do together and the impact we have on each other. So that's that's really important to me. I know that I'll feel like that. I know when I step on a plane for the first time on a Qantas flight to go overseas, I'll know how privileged I am to be able to travel. So, and when I go sit at a restaurant, I'll be sitting in Rockpool Bar and Grill on Tuesday night because we open Wednesday to Sunday. So I'll be having Corey feed me something amazing on Tuesday, and I'm so looking forward to it.
Well, as always, Neil, absolutely honoured to have you on the show, and absolutely blessed by the time that you always give us. And please keep in touch. Good luck.
Pleasure,
and hopefully this is the start of a new journey for the hospitality sector.
Absolutely. I think it is. All the best, Huck. See you soon, mate.
Thank you, mate.
Bye.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. Stay tuned as we take a deep dive into the lives of the incredible people who ply their trade in the food and hospitality sector. Special thanks to executive producer Rob Locke for making this all happen. Follow us on Instagram at Deep in the Weeds Podcast, or email us at podcast@deepintheweeds.com.au. Stay safe and be well.